In today's news, BVI reports 11 active cases of COVID-19, no more Commonwealth Day and St. Ursula's Day being observed in the BVI, and Rotary Club Sunrise of Rotown continues to help persons in need through the Power of One initiative.
As well as the King Garden Bay Baptist Church opens the Blanche and Blanche Pantry, and the BVI ranked number 13 on this COVID-19 study. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Money in the sky.
Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way, yeah.
I need room for my legs. I got a baby. I need some money. Yeah, I need teeth for my eggs. A little bag and take it to the store.
Rotary Food Market is launching $250 out of our money cannon at our live Christmas drawing every Friday until Christmas. To enter, you must be 18 years or older and jump in our money square in front of our Right Way Passier store. No registration required. See you there.
Welcome everybody. It's Monday, December 21st, 2020. We are venturing into the week of Christmas in the British Virgin Islands, and we're so happy to be bringing you our live newscast as always. I'm Ron Grant.
And I am Kyla Kinesha Forbes. It is the week of Christmas, and we're definitely excited to be joining you this week to bring you your local, regional, and international content.
Yes, indeed.
Now, we will dive right into our news summary. Now, we see where Governor Jasport is saying that it is best for the BVI to adhere to the UK's new law on this company's register. Now, as well as hurricane home repairs to start from January 2021 with 30 plus signed. This was said by Minister of Health and Social Development, Honorable Carvin Malone. As well, sweeping news as a 16-year-old male charged for sex with an underage girl.
In addition to that, special waivers for local residents returning without test results and 9 certified in a coaching program here in the British Virgin Islands. Millions in consultancies, but no reports, says the leader of the government opposition, the Honorable Marlene A. Penn, and incoming package of cannabis intercepted at the TB Lettsam Airport. We're going to have all those details and so much more, not only today, but further on in the week. Beginning on the local scene, Deputy Governor Mr. David Archer Jr. was sworn in as acting governor by His Lordship, the Honorable Justice Gerard Wabank. Today, on Friday, December 18th, that is, Mr. Archer will serve as acting governor from Saturday, December 19th until Thursday, January 7th, 2020, while His Excellency, the Governor of the Virgin Islands, Augustus J.U. Jaspert, is out of the territory. Now, Mr. Archer's appointment is in accordance, of course, with Section 37, Number 1, Section A of the Virgin Islands Constitution Order 2007, which states, and I quote, "During any period when the office of the governor is vacant or the governor is absent from the Virgin Islands or is for any reason unable to perform the functions of his or her office, the deputy governor shall, during Her Majesty's pleasure, act in the office of the governor and shall perform the functions of that office accordingly." Kyla, we of course are anticipating the arrival of the new governor of the Virgin Islands, Mr. Ranking, in January, but we see during this period of Christmas season, like we all should be able to, Governor Jaspert is taking some well-needed time off. Now, continuing on the local scene, in a Government Information Services release, a Minister for Health and Social Development, the Honorable Carvin Malone, has reported that there are now 11 active cases of COVID-19 in the British Virgin Islands. The health minister stated during a live COVID-19 update on December 17th that the 11 active cases were discovered to be persons who recently traveled into the territory and who completed testing on entry, that's day 0 or on day 4. Honorable Malone said, and I quote, "Of the active cases, 2 are returning residents and 9 are tourists or non-residents. All persons were deemed asymptomatic and are safe and secured in a quarantine until they have completed the retested protocol, yielding, of course, negative results to be considered recovered." Now, the health minister explained that efforts to ensure everyone's safety include, of course, addressing any deficiencies into the entry protocols. As such, Cabinet met and decided to address uncooperative behavior of persons in quarantine and their intent on breaking the laws and protocols in the British Virgin Islands. Now, therefore, the fines that will increase under the COVID-19 Control and Suppression Entry of Persons Regulations 2020 are as follows. Persons who deliberately tamper or damage the geofencing device face a fine of $2,000, up from $125. Persons who engage in unauthorized visits with a person in quarantine face a fine of $5,000, up from $500. Now, any person who contravenes the protocols or guidelines as set out by the regulations face a fine of $10,000, which is up from $1,000. Now, as it relates to the COVID-19 Control and Suppression Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2020, number 5 of 2020, Cabinet has decided to increase the fine for failure to comply with the quarantine order to $10,000. Now, Honorable Malone also addressed efforts to, of course, improve the government's approved transportation, also known as the GAT capacity, and help reduce the present demand to accommodate visitors as the various ports of entry and the needs of guests during their day 4 testing. He said Cabinet has now allowed for hotels, resorts, and charter companies with approved gold seal transportation services to be utilized under the direction authority of the Director of the Taxi and Leverage Commission. Now, Honorable Malone addressed the challenge, of course, for belongers and residents obtaining COVID-19 PCR test results for entry and stated that they can now process waivers to the pre-arrival test. This service is extended to belongers and residents only and must be approved by the Minister of Health and Social Development in consultation with the Chief Medical Officer. Now, under these exceptional circumstances, such as persons will be required to remain in quarantine for an extended period of 7 to 14 days with an additional PCR test administered at the end of their on-island quarantine. A negative test result must be attained before release. Honorable Malone said that a total of 10,483 persons have been tested at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital as of December 17th. Now, a total number of persons tested in all, that's 10,469. The total number of positive cases detected is 86. A total number of active COVID-19 cases is 11, and the total number of recoveries is 74, with one unfortunate death. Now, the public is consistently being reminded to continue to comply with all health and safety measures. Kyla, we see where there has been a significant increase in the fees, which I think is warranted.
Yes.
Based on the feedback that the government of the Virgin Islands has been given. And essentially, breaching quarantine, breaching protocols is putting the health of others at risk. And I do think that the fines, the increase in the fines, are more than warranted and acceptable for persons to really understand the severity of what they might be considering or doing.
I do agree. Now, as we move on, there is a new food pantry in the Virgin Islands at the Garden Bay Baptist Church, and it will have its official dedication. That dedication was on Saturday, the 19th of December, 2020 at 10 a.m. Just Saturday, they handed over the food pantry over at the Garden Bay Baptist Church. Now, the Blanche and Blanche Food Pantry is named after two stewards of the Garden Bay community and members of the church, Mrs. Blanche Klein and Mrs. Blanche Blyden, who both had a giving spirit. This is according to the First Lady of the Garden Bay Baptist Church, Mrs. Marion Turnbull. Now, First Lady Turnbull said that one of the important missions of the church is to give. And the food pantry aligns well with this mantra. For she said, and I quote, "For years, the opening of a food pantry has been on my heart. In fact, since 1994, when I started social work in 2004, I was exposed to the realities of the lives of others, and more I saw the need for us as a church to extend our humanitarian services to persons who are in need," end quote. She explained that the experiences of COVID-19 presented an opportunity for her to push even more for the church to move the plan for paper to reality to help change lives through giving more. There are persons who really need help, and now as a church, we can do our part and make a difference and have an impact in the lives of persons. She added that the King Garden Bay Baptist Church has always been giving, and this is another systematic way to impact the community, more specifically giving back to the community. The public and members of the media was invited and attended the opening of the ceremony at the King Garden Bay Baptist Church. And of course, the wearing of masks were mandatory in receiving rather than pouting, she said. Now, graduates, God is about to give you a lot, but you must be ready to receive it by understanding His will for your lives, end quote. This means be slow to anger, fret and pout. Instead, be happy and press forward with enthusiasm. Reverend Turnbull is encouraging graduates to develop a synergy with God so that what God wants and what you want are in sync. Now, Ron, awesome initiative, especially in the Christmas season. We see where First Lady Turnbull said this has been on her heart for a very long time, and we're definitely happy that she was able to do this, and the entire church. I think we speak a lot about the church playing a valuable part in our community, and I think this is one of those examples where the church community can give back to the community here in the Virgin Islands.
Carl, I do agree with you, that the church plays a very integral role, not only taking tithes and offerings, but making sure that the community is well thought of and considered. And I think this is an example of a local ingenuity that could benefit not only the King Garden Bay community, but the territory on a wide. Now we see where the need for pantry, and of course, viewers, we're going to get into that later, but still ahead, no more Commonwealth Day and St. Ursula's Day being observed in the BVI, and Rotary Club Sunrise continues to help persons in need, which is a story that has a lot to do with the similar efforts of the King Garden Bay Baptist Church. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
The win! Oh!
What are the hell?
I'm freaking out!
Is high.
284 News
Coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands.
What's poppin', what's really good, what's happening, what's up?
Davis has won it for the
Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. You're watching 284 News. Now continuing on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands. The Rotary Club Sunrise of Rotown members photoed with a third batch of fully packed grocery items for the club's Power of One initiative, which has assisted many persons in need since the onset of COVID-19. Now left to right are Director Alicia Green, Director Gretchen Hodge Penn, President Kenesha Sprov, Rotarian Judy Ann Smith, and Directors Faye Smith Penn and PP Jeanette Boynes. Now, Kyla, this, like the story previously spoke about, really covers the need in our community. And more we've seen where local organizations have come to the forefront to really assist, and it is necessary because the onus has always been placed on the government of the Virgin Islands. But I'd like to remind the general public that it still takes a village to raise a child. Now, the Power of One initiative was only one initiative put on by the Rotary Club of Sunrise. But over this past weekend, we saw where the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Marlon A. Penn, took to the streets of the 8th District at various locations to provide a hot meal. They had everything from barbecue chicken to salt fish, a quite delectable meal, but again, providing a really needed service to persons. We tend to neglect or try to turn a blind eye to the needs that are in our community, and I think these examples are showing us more and more that there are underlying needs in our community that we should be paying attention to. In addition to that, the Rotary Club of Rotown, they also held a soup drive on Saturday, where again they were providing hot soup meals to persons in the community. So there's definitely a need, and we want to encourage persons or similar organizations who can assist in any way to do so.
Ron, I think this season we're really highlighting the gift of giving.
Yes.
We see it so much, different organizations, and as you mentioned, I really love that we're not leaving it up to our government officials. Everyone needs to pitch in.
Yes.
The corporate BVI or nonprofits, and I definitely want to applaud those who have been stepping up to the plate and making it happen.
I could not agree with you more. Now, on to a very interesting story. The 2020 public holiday list of the Virgin Islands has been approved by Cabinet and made public. Now, a government-appointed committee is set to make the decisions on the public holidays. Notable changes to the list show that the BVI will no longer be observing Commonwealth Day or St. Ursula's Day. Commonwealth Day is usually observed on March 19 and St. Ursula's Day on October 23rd. Instead, both have been removed, and the BVI community will now be observing one Monday 18th October as Heroes and Forefathers Day, and on Monday 8th of November, the commemoration of the Great March of 1949, and of course the restoration of the Legislative Council. Since the release of the new list, some residents have questioned whether the removal of both Commonwealth Day and St. Ursula's Day holidays are subliminal messages of a move towards independence. Now, by removing Commonwealth Day, is the government implying that we are no longer members of the Commonwealth? Additionally, while the local observance as Heroes and Forefathers Day, and of course the commemoration of the Great March of 1949 and the restoration of the Legislative Council are truly important to local history and heritage, and they should be observed. I totally agree with that. What is the reasoning behind the removal of the previous holidays, and what messages or stance are we implying as a territory? Now, of course, no official report from the government has been given by the removal or on the removal or the reasoning behind it of Commonwealth Day or St. Ursula's Day, but we do know that the 2021 public holiday list has been out, and we're now observing two local holidays versus St. Ursula's and Commonwealth Day.
Now, Ron, those are all pressing questions by the public, and they're necessary because I think we cannot just act like as though this had not happened. As you said, very important holidays have been added to the list now. I do think that it was very important to observe that great march and our legislative council. That is very important holidays for the BVI and BVI history. But what does it truly mean when we remove these type of holidays? Now, very pressing questions, and we do hope that we get some answers soon. Now, according to Loops Online, of 34 Caribbean countries included in a recent COVID-19 rate study. Now, the BVI has placed 13th on that list. Now, Barbados' COVID-19 rate on December 17th, when the finding was pulled, was 10.67, and the island had recorded 305 confirmed COVID-19 cases overall in the last 10 months. Now, the market research firm was actually based here in the British Virgin Islands. They released the chart showing Aruba having the highest rate of COVID-19 cases, while St. Kitts has the lowest. Now, the Caribbean update, Corona Disease 2019 COVID-19 was released by MJS and Associates and its founder, our very own Mitzi Ellison Simpson, on Friday. Now, the chart said it is based on data from December 17th and is a comparison of confirmed COVID-19 cases per 10,000 population in the Caribbean, including CARICOM members. Now, there are 34 countries on the list, and St. Kitts is lowest with the rate of 5.06, while Aruba is highest at the rate of 484.1. Now, the the other 4 countries in the 5 lowest are from 2nd lowest to the 5th lowest, which is Anguilla, Grenada, Cuba, and Haiti. The other 4 countries in the 5 highest are from, of course, the 5th highest to the 2nd, which is St. Martin, Belize, St. Martin, and Puerto Rico. According to the company's website, MJS and Associates was founded, as we said before, by Ellis Simpson with the purpose of providing research, analytics, investigative, and consultancy services to both the public and private sector, consisting of banks, tax, fraud, and forensic accounting. Very important study, Ron. We see where, due to this list, we can see where different Caribbean countries stand.
Correct.
As of Friday, there were 330,000 COVID-19 cases reported in the Caribbean. With the Caribbean being somewhat of a small region, I do think that, as we continue to say, it's a fluid situation when it pertains to COVID-19, and we're definitely just watching on and hoping for the best for all countries.
Most definitely. I think the report by Mrs. Ellis Simpson is a very important one. As we continue to navigate, Kyla, through the trajectory of COVID-19, it is important to consistently have statistics so that we understand the point in which we began and now where we're at. I think that's the only way we're going to be able to mark progress, even though from time to time that progress seems to be washed away by surges. But I do think it's quite acceptable and applaudable effort to continue to keep meaningful statistics as it pertains to the region of the Caribbean.
I do agree. Now, still ahead, viewers, a cutoff over in the UK. The UK is facing travel bans on fear of a new virus strain. Now, you'll be hearing all about this new virus strain, as well as the UK seemingly being cut off from the world. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Father Jesus, that line you long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes,
Good
Sonny.
morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top up or?
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, a new variant of the coronavirus first seen in England is said to be 70% more contagious than the current strain, according to UK scientists. Now, the scientists are saying that the mutation changes the spike protein found on the surface of the virus by increasing its ability to latch onto human cells, allowing the virus to spread 70% faster than the dominant strain. Now, the new COVID-19 variant has at least 23 new genetic changes, which is an unusually high number. Now, according to the scientists via the Wall Street Journal, now the spike protein contains amino acids that use foreign body immunize that breaks down cell coatings and allows COVID-19 to penetrate. Now, the British government chief scientist advisor said on Saturday that the studies show the latest variant of the virus spread significantly faster than earlier strains, but Is the latest strain more deadly? And will the vaccines now available be able to beat it? Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, and I quote, a preliminary description of the variant published online by scientists associated with the British efforts to track genetic variations of the virus suggests the new strain may have developed in someone suffering from a chronic infection, possibly because of a weakened immune system, end quote. Now, according to Mr. Valance, any conclusions that the new strain may be less dangerous were preliminary. There were also theoretical reasons why the new strain may after immune response, although he said there was no evidence to back up such assumptions. He continued to say, the working assumption is that the vaccine response should be adequate for this virus, but we need to keep vigilant about this. Now, according to the New York Center, there is no evidence to suggest that the new strain has arrived in the U.S. A number of European countries, amongst them are Italy, Belgium, and the Netherlands, ban travel from the UK as Europe race to contain this new variant. And Ron, you'll be definitely jumping in.
Of course, getting in depth into that. Because of the new variant, we see where trucks waiting to get out of Britain backed up for miles, and people were stranded at airports on Monday as countries around the world impose stringent travel restrictions over concerns about a new strand of the coronavirus that authorities say may spread more easily, which we just spoke about. Now, a growing number of countries are halting air travel from the UK, while France has banned trucks from the country for a period of 48 hours while the new variant is assessed. British Health Secretary Matt Hancock said that the strain is out of control around London and southern England, but experts have urged caution, saying it's not clear if it's more lethal. Now, there were rising hopes Monday that France would allow traffic to flow again if truck drivers took the coronavirus tests on arrival. While the French ban does not prevent trucks from heading for Britain, the move was creating concerns about shortages at a time of year when the UK produces very little of its food needs and relies heavily, of course, on the produce delivered from Europe by the truck. Now, in a sign of the British government's concern, Prime Minister Boris Johnson called a meeting of the government's emergency committee. The ban was causing chaos in Kent, the southeastern England country that is home to many of Britain's channel ports. The government has urged against travel to the country, but trucks snaked along the shoulders of the main highways to the ports away. Now, around 10,000 trucks pass through Britain's port Dover every day, according to about 20% of the UK's trade in goods. British Transport Secretary Grant Shapps said French bans was slightly surprising, but tried to calm the nerves by noting that the majority of Britain's trade was not affected. Now, Shapps insisted that the public won't notice any shortages for the most part. But France Minister of Transport Jean-Baptiste Debarry indicated that a solution was coming. Now, Kyla, this is an absolutely daunting story. Yeah. We see where the United Kingdom is essentially in chaos, where the travel and the close proximity to Europe, not only by truckers but persons relying, placing a ban not only imposes a problem, but it really shows the level of fear that regions, countries are now facing in regards to this new strand. It's a protective measure. It's one that has caused quite a stir and quite a lot of chaos in the UK, but it is very important to continue to monitor, because with this new strand of the coronavirus, it really shows and beckons that it's, again, a fluid situation that we really have very little control over.
Ron, I think as we wind down this year, and we've been dealing with coronavirus for quite some months now, persons might have said, I wonder what's next. And then, hey, the virus just mutates. And I think because it's so fluid and there's no valid information
Yes.
on it, you really don't know how to deal with it. And an entire country, the United Kingdom, is now dealing with this.
And being essentially shut out
Yeah.
from the rest of Europe.
Yeah. But this is a situation that we're dealing with. Of course, viewers, we will be keeping you informed of that. But of course, that is it for today's news roundup. Be sure to catch us for news updates at 284media.com. You can like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram as well as Twitter. I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And I'm Ron Grant. It's always a pleasure. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Have a happy Monday, and we will see you tomorrow with more local, regional, and international content. 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news right out of Tortola in the British Virgin Islands. Bye-bye.
Bye.